756. The gentleman from South Carolina, Mr. Norman, and a member opposed. Each will control 5 minutes. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from South Carolina.
Madam Speaker, my amendment is similar to what we talked about before on the DEI lunacy. My amendment would prohibit funds from being used by the interagency working group on the social cost of greenhouse gases. The social cost of greenhouse gases. The interagency working group was originally convened by the Obama administration before being disbanded by the Trump administration and reimposed through Biden's Radical Climate Executive Order 13990. Democrats use the social cost of greenhouse gas metrics to justify sweeping climate policies and the strict regulations. I would add that President Biden, when asked about what the main concerns and threats for America, he put climate change. We've got people being blown up over in Israel, and his focus is climate change now. I urge my colleagues to support my amendment and ensure we don't waste valuable tax dollars and resources to fund the Biden administration's radical climate agenda. And the other thing I would add is we have got to put dollars on that are just vaguely named in these bills and see where the money actually goes. I think America would be astounded. I reserve the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserves. For what purpose does gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition?
I rise in strong opposition to this amendment, please.
The gentlewoman is recognized.
This amendment would prohibit funds for the interagency working group on the social cost of greenhouse gases. In my part of the country, we recognize what greenhouse gases are. We have to contain methane at many landfills that have let that stuff belch out into the atmosphere. The satellites that take photos of the Earth from a distance away can show us that when we weren't conscious of greenhouse gases, we were breaking through the ozone layer and we've been able to heal that now over time with concerted effort. So those who care to know about greenhouse gases have plenty of evidence around us, and we know that the work of this particular group is crucial to making sure the government accounts for the potential impacts of government actions on the climate. Now, I just left a group of farmers back in Ohio, and I can tell you what, their fields are being washed out because of added rainfall at a level they've never seen before. We've got the salt water creeping up the Mississippi River right now. I was just talking to one of the members on your side of the aisle, sir, yesterday, concerned about Baton Rouge and what is happening to the ocean and to the salt water coming north. Never before. This is very unusual. So whether it's gases in the air, I can think of Canada this past summer. In my part of the country, we never had the kind of, I call it, fog that came from those forest fires and came down into our region, even made it here to Washington, D.C. and down into the Panhandle. This is all new. This is all new. So as I've said, it's undeniable that we are witnessing growing weather events stemming from climate change occurring in real time, even to the point where we can see it with our own eyes. As of the end of August, there have been more than 23 disasters in 2023 alone, costing at least $1 billion each, and we know that the costs of trying to pick up after these terrible events, whether talking Hawaii or other places in our country that have been hit hard, our Homeland Security and disaster assistance accounts have tripled because of what is going on. So we know that the events this year have exceeded the previous record set in 2020, and we still have a few more months to go before this year is out. So we don't have the luxury to pretend that climate change isn't impacting us, whatever name you call it, or that our actions aren't somehow related to it. Tell the American citizens who lost businesses or homes and loved ones from hurricanes and wildfires and other recent natural disasters, and those who continue to face unrelenting flooding in the Midwest, that there are no costs from climate change, because there sure are. And it is already past time for aggressive action to address climate change and its impact. The truth is that it is having catastrophic social and economic impacts here in the United States and across the globe, and these are real and they are unrelenting. Pretending that it doesn't exist simply won't make it go away. So I strongly urge my colleagues to vote against this harmful amendment and would enjoy talking to the gentleman at any time about my part of the country and what we endure. And from what I see in your part of the country, you've got issues there as well. I yield back my remaining time.
The gentlewoman yields. The gentleman is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, I'm glad you mentioned forest fires. If you talk to any forester, this is something we could have a direct impact on. You know how much thatch that is causing a lot of these fires? Thatch, in a lot of cases, is this high. And the environmentalists won't let them cut some dead trees, and it won't let them take the thatch out. Now, how stupid is that? It defies logic. Now, you mentioned the oceans. You try to explain to anybody in this country how a man is going to control the oceans. We're all for clean water and clean air, but the price tag that is put on these programs that are paying some bureaucrat to give his opinion. And it's lunacy at its height at a time in this country that Americans cannot afford it. And I promise if you, in your district, if you talk to your constituents and put the price tag on it, I think they would have a different opinion than your president saying that climate change is the biggest existential threat in this country. There are far greater things than that. I yield back to balance my time.
The gentleman yields. The question is now on the amendment offered by a gentleman from South Carolina. Those in favor say aye.